Hello everybody, what's happening? Welcome back to another video. Sorry I'm late, I'm just a minute late. Usually I'm here pretty good and pretty right on time, but today I'm a little bit late, so sorry about that. It's just a minute, but as always, I'm usually right on time. But anyways, got a few things to talk about actually today. It's a lot more things to talk about than yesterday. Yesterday was a slow day. Didn't really want to put it out a live stream just because it was slow. I could have milked some of the stuff that was out there yesterday, but in reality, I didn't want to make a live stream yesterday. I'm not trying to come up with any stories or anything like that. So that's why I didn't want to come out with anything yesterday. Yesterday was just so slow. I really didn't know what to talk about. Today there's been a little bit more news. It's picked up a little bit more. So we'll get into today's news right now. I think the first thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is Gareth Bale and James Rodriguez. I mean, this is just completely weird that they're still at the club. And now it's the onus is on Zidane really to just kind of I would say get the best out of these players, because these players really on their day, they're absolutely fantastic players, and if we can get if we can just fit them in the lineup somehow, I think that would be fantastic. I think it could really help us in the long run to get them in the starting lineups. Of course, Gareth Bale, we all know the situation with him. He gets injured. From what I was able to glean from from his stats, he only averages about 60% of the season. So obviously, he only plays 60% of the season, with the other 40% obviously just being injured. So in that way, maybe we can just have Vinicius or something along those lines play in those positions. Jonas says Perez is a virus, has prevented Zidane from selling them. Yeah, I know. Perez is just, I don't know what's going on with him. He really is, I would say. It's just kind of, it's weird because, Perez did reassure Zidane of certain things, and some of those things haven't happened. You look at Paul Pogba, maybe obviously some people will say that's a good thing, obviously. But you look at some of the reassurances, and they just haven't all been there, right? I mean, I guess the power is in the hand of Perez, and Zidane can only do so much. But yeah, you're right, Jonas, you have a good point. Obviously, Gareth Bale not being sold, I mean, that was kind of weird too. And I guess it is what it is, but he is a bit of a virus, I guess you could say. Let's see here. So what does, what I wanted to talk, I wanted to talk about a little bit Gareth Bale and James Rodriguez. Obviously, James Rodriguez is a very good player. We all know in the 14-15 season, that's where he pretty much got his best numbers. I mean, 13 goals, 13 assists, and 29 appearances in La Liga. So if he can do that again, if we can, just see James Rodriguez back to his top form, being just a top player, then I think we can get, I think we can get a good return on James Rodriguez. And yeah, like John said, he is kind of a virus, but then again, he is the president. We have to deal with him. You look at the Glazers from Manchester United. It's a tough situation there. You look at Arsenal, their situation is tough as well. They got a tough president to deal with. Yes, they have made some pretty good transfers, I'd say, for this summer transfer window, but it's been up and down really for them. So overall, I'd say the presidents are, we just have to deal with them. It's part of the game. Let's see here. So I did want to talk a little bit about Bale and James Rodriguez. How, if you can get the best out of them, then obviously they could be very, very important in La Liga race. You don't want to rely too much on Gareth Bale. Obviously, he gets injury prone. If he doesn't, get a chance to play, then you play not James Rodriguez, but you could play Vinicius or something along those lines. I think for me, on the Vinicius on the right hand side, I'd like to see him there a lot better. I know people are saying on the left, but for me on the right, I would like to see him for, just because I feel like he's lacking end product, and at the moment, I think he could develop on the right hand side. Let's see here. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, there's obviously Marc Roca. Marc Roca, I think he's an Espanyol player at the moment, and he's been linked to Real Madrid. It seems like he was going to go to Bayern Munich. I know it was Manchester Madrid, I believe, who talked about him. It was Marc Roca, and the estimated fee is about 40 million, and I guess Bayern Munich are finding it too high at the moment, so they're really unwilling to pay that. And Espanyol just very, very stubborn, just very concrete. They want the 40 million. So at the moment, Bayern Munich, it just seems like it might not happen. So that now Real Madrid are just keeping tabs on Marc Roca, and they're still trying to find a center midfielder, obviously, because we're a little bit low in numbers in that position. If you guys know anything about Marc Roca, please do let me know, because I really don't know much about him. I've heard good things about him, but I really don't know much about him. I've seen a few of his things. He looks decent. He's young. It's always a risk, I guess you could say. You look at Mendy from Real Sociedad. I mean, we brought him in. We thought he was going to be in the next Xabi Alonso, and it just went down the drain for him. So Marc Roca obviously is a bit of a risk, but we'll have to see, I guess. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, obviously they see him as a Pogba alternative. and it could work. I mean, he's young, he's 22, but we'll have to see what happens in that one. I think. The next person that I wanted to talk about is Kubo. Yes. So Jonas says Roca is a big gamble. To be honest, hope Real buy a experienced CDM. Yeah, I'm hoping to actually. I would like to see more experience in the CDM position. Maybe and the thing ultimately is it is a backup CDM, so maybe it's kind of hard to find someone with experience who wants to play as backup, and that's why we should have kept Llorente. But to be honest, I would like to see a bit of more experience, a bit more. I would say someone who's been maybe not at the top level, and how can I say this, but someone who has more experience, like Jonas was saying. I would like to see that in the CDM position. Rather than bringing in someone who's young, obviously it's like I said earlier, it's a bit of a risk, I would say. Let's see, Kubo. So Kubo obviously now just going to Real, not going to Real, but he's going to Mallorca, I believe. So this has been reported by El Chiringuito. I think it's been reported by several others as well. So Kubo is now going to go to Mallorca, and I think it's not official yet, but it seems like the terms have been agreed and everything like that. So. This is a very, very good thing. Obviously, I think Kubo needs to go on loan. I think he's too good for Castilla. I've seen a few of his things. He looks way too good for Castilla. So I think a loan move would benefit him a lot. And I would have liked to see him take on some first team action here at Real Madrid. But I think the reason I don't want to see him necessarily just yet is because the pressure is immense at Real Madrid, and we don't have a lot of time to, I would say, develop our players. Real Madrid are not about really. It's not really a developing club. It's nothing bad. It's just. We're not that kind of club, We're clubs that we want the end product. We want what's, ultimately we want the best of the best, That's just how it works. So Kubo, I think this will be very, very good for his development. Obviously, just going to another team in La Liga, and I have big expectations for this guy. I think he looks like the real deal, and obviously a lot of Madridistas do as well. So. This will be excellent. Like I've said earlier. Let's see here. So there's a couple more things that I want to say about. Obviously, there's Bruno Fernandes. That's a, kind of a not a weird one, I would say, but he was linked to Manchester United all summer, and everyone thought he was going to go to Manchester United. I had a feeling he wasn't going to go to Manchester United. I think it was more of a, I really. At some point I did think he was going to go, but it was never, it was up and down, and I don't know if he was going to go. So now Bruno Fernandes, it seems, has been offered to Real Madrid. Obviously George Mendes is the agent, and he's been in touch with Real Madrid. So the price tag for Bruno Fernandes is 70 million euros, and apparently that price tag is non-negotiable. Now, would you take him at Real Madrid for 70 million euros? Please do let me know in the comment section below. What I'm thinking is, it's all right. 70 million euros, why not? I think Tottenham have made a 60 million euro bid for him. I think Manchester United, I don't even know if Manchester United made a bid for him. But ultimately, I think this could be a good deal. He's obviously a center midfielder who scored a ton of goals. He's made a ton of assists. Yes, it is in the Portuguese league, but, he is a good player. And I think he could bring something to Real Madrid that we're missing at the moment. Obviously, we do have James Rodriguez who can provide goals and assists and things like that. But maybe Bruno Fernandes can provide something else. And especially that we're lacking a little bit in midfield depth. I think Bruno Fernandes could be excellent for us. I think he's willing to leave. And maybe if we can just play the waiting game a little bit and maybe just offer 60 million or something along those lines at the end of the transfer window, then maybe we can make something like this happen. But at the moment, we do need a couple... like I said before, we do need a couple center midfielders. I would say we're bereft of depth in the midfield positions. Like Jonas was saying, what was he saying? Sorry, Roca is a big gamble. Maybe Bruno Fernandes could be. It is a big gamble too, ultimately, I guess, and all players are a gamble. But Bruno Fernandes could be a midfielder that could I would say it's a bit more solid than Roca. Sorry, I'm just losing my train of thought. But Bruno Fernandes, I think, could help us in midfield positions. Let's see here. And is there anything else I wanted to say? Maybe not. Renato Dumbo, thank you for being on. Good to see you on the show. Totally agree. Think Bruno Fernandes would be an excellent signing. I think so too. I think he would be an excellent signing. I think he would, like I said, he'll provide us with something in the midfield that currently we don't have at the moment. And Bruno Fernandes, obviously, Portuguese league. I can't remember his stats exactly. I think it's 20 24. I don't remember if it's 24 goals, 13 assists, or something along those. But it's very, very good, very good. I have to say. So I think he would, bring something to us. And for 70 million euros, especially in today's market, I mean, why not? Why not? You have players just going for crazy, crazy prices. So I think I think he could help us. Like I've showed you his stats before. They're very, very good stats. So there you have it for Bruno Fernandes. Let's see. I did want to touch a little bit on the Neymar thing. I don't want to touch too much on it, but I do want to touch a little bit on it. Sean Burr says, in my opinion, the only reason why we're linked to Bruno Fernandes is because we couldn't get Pogba. Yes, exactly. That's a good point, Sean. We couldn't get Paul Pogba, obviously, so that's why we're linked to Bruno Fernandes. We're trying to look for an alternative to Paul Pogba, and maybe this is a better thing than just bringing in Paul Pogba. And the reason I say that is because Paul Pogba, when he's given the task, or when he's given this the task of pretty much just carrying the team or being the midfield leader on the pitch, he doesn't necessarily, I would say, accomplish that. And what I mean by that is he's not necessarily that kind of leader, that kind of midfielder who can carry a team, I'd say. I know he can do it to some extent. I know he's done it in France, but it's just kind of up and down with Paul Pogba. Whether he can do it at Real Madrid or not is a different question. I think he would be a world-class player. I think he would be great for us at Madrid, but what I'd rather see is bringing in maybe two midfielders or something along those lines. And Bruno Fernandes, could be one that could bring us something else, creativity. Caesar says Neymar is an overbloated saga. It's just Neymar is just it's too much, right? I mean, I don't like to talk about this too much, but I guess there's developments here and there, and I guess sometimes they do need to be addressed. But it is an overbloated saga, like you said, Caesar. It's just there's always news about him, and it's this, and it's that, and it's Juventus now that are in the race apparently. So it's just all over the place with Neymar. And look, what I would say about Neymar is world-class player. He bring us, goals. He would bring us assists. He can dribble. I mean, it's like five. I think he's got like 5 dribbles per game or something like that. It's just insane numbers. And he's obviously a world-class player. I mean, he would bring so much to the team. But of course, like you were saying, Caesar. I mean, in the long term, he could he could disrupt the team chemistry. And is that a good thing or not? I mean, I don't know. And like I was saying, the counter argument to that is that we did have Ronaldo, and Ronaldo was kind of like that, but and we managed in the end, and we won a lot of trophies with that. So I think Neymar, maybe wouldn't have so much of a problem assimilating to our club versus Neymar at PSG. Neymar at PSG, I think the reason for his petulance basically at PSG is because he thinks he's bigger than the club, and I think that's why. That's why he can do those kinds of things, because he just wields a lot of power. He's a guy who I would say he's a big name, and I think he kind of knows it's not that he's big. I guess you could say he's bigger than PSG. He kind of knows he's bigger than PSG. I guess he knows he can do better. I guess, and that's why ultimately I think it hasn't quite worked out. Jonas says, I've heard Navas wants to go. I think Real are in trouble and Courtois is useless. Man, Navas cannot go. Navas cannot not go, especially with the situation with Courtois. I mean, it's weird, really, because Courtois, although he can be a world-class goalkeeper, he can be a very, very good goalkeeper. He's 27 now. I mean, gosh, he's hit the ceiling. I mean, he's got. Come on, man, you gotta do something, man, because Courtois, although he was good last game in La Liga, I can't just trust him completely, and I don't want to. Other than Courtois, who else do we have? So I don't know if Navas will leave, and I hope he doesn't leave for the sake of a goalkeeper, because at the moment our goalkeeping situation very, very precarious. I don't want any of these I don't want any goalkeepers to leave, because essentially we need a backup goalkeeper. We have Lunin who went on loan, so if Navas can take the first position at Real Madrid and Courtois can take the second, I think that would be great. I don't think that's going to happen, but I would like to see something like that. But Courtois at the moment, I mean, I want to see more from him, but I've seen it in the Atletico Madrid shirt. He's got it in him, man. He's got it in him, and I feel like we got to give him a chance. Caesar says that I think Courtois has a good game against Celta. Give him a chance. I think I can understand why people are not, are very, very scared when it comes to Courtois, and we have given him chances, we have given him chances, and especially at, considering his age. I mean, he's been given not a fair chance completely, but he's been given some chances and he hasn't really performed. But I guess like Caesar says, we have to give him kind of a fair chance. You know what? Maybe last season it's been a free pass, I would say, for everyone, and maybe this season we just have to give him a fair chance and see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, then yes, we do have to get rid of Courtois because this is Real Madrid, man. You can't step down, I would say, and how can I say this? You can't just be okay. You have to be good all the time. And Navas is like that. He's great all the time. And Courtois, it's one good game and a few bad games. So I want to see Courtois just doing good all the time. That's how it works at Real Madrid. And John says he made 2 saves and that's it. He needs to prove more. Yeah, I know. He made a couple good saves, I would say, especially the one for Iago Aspas. I thought it was a pretty decent save, but he does need to prove more, like you said, Jonas. But got to give him a fair chance. I say, because you know what, he's got it in him. He's got it in him. Caesar says, I believe it's been 1 season. Navas wasn't exactly the Navas everyone knows during his first season. That's a good point, Caesar. Actually, that's a very, very good point. The first season for Keylor Navas was kind of a disaster. We have to remember that. He was a great goalkeeper at Levante, actually. Very, very good shot stopper. And I think he was getting a lot of stick for the first season. And we forget that. It's very, very easy to forget something like that. That in the first season of Keylor Navas, he was a disaster. People were booing him. People were lambasting him. People were saying things, like Navas out. We don't want Navas. This guy's not good enough. But at the end, he proved. He proved to be, I would say, how can I say this? He proved to be the real deal, and he proved to all the Madridistas that he's almost indispensable. He's a true. I mean, world-class goalkeeper. As much as some people will criticize him, he is a very, very good goalkeeper. And Keylor Navas really was a very, very good example of how one season may be bad, but the subsequent seasons maybe can be very, very good. And people, it certainly takes time, to maybe assimilate to the culture and things like that. But hopefully Courtois can come good. But yeah, this is his season, man. If Courtois doesn't do good this season, then he obviously has to leave. And nothing bad. It's just this is Real Madrid, man. This is Real Madrid. Jonas says, I doubted Navas when he arrived 2014, and I preferred Diego Lopez. I did too, actually. I did prefer Diego Lopez. I really liked Navas, actually. I saw him in Levante, and I really loved him. I thought he was a top goalkeeper, but I did prefer Diego Lopez at that time. And then Jonas says, who did great, Diego Lopez, but Navas' move proved to be good. That's right. Yeah, it's crazy. Thank you for that, Caesar. Thank you for that insight. I appreciate that. Caesar says saves can be a misleading stat. How many shots did he save? Just playing devil's advocate. Yeah, that's true. Fair point. Thank you for that, Caesar. Really appreciate it. Sometimes sometimes we forget those things. Yeah, that's true. So do appreciate that as always. Let's see here. So what else did I want to talk? I didn't want to talk too much about this. I mean, obviously there's the links to Bruno Fernandes, and obviously we're just looking for a Pogba alternative. We were linked to Van de Beek. All the links, and it's just down the drain. I don't know if this Bruno Fernandes thing is really going to happen. I have some doubts it's going to happen. I really don't think it's going to happen. What I have to say is I think he would bring something to the midfield that we're currently lacking, goals and assists and things like that. Obviously, James Rodriguez could be a player to do that job, but I think another player in the midfield I think could do us some good. And let's see. Obviously, the Takefusa Kubo is going to go out to Mallorca pretty soon, I guess. Reports have been stating this. There's El Chiringuito that have reported this. I think it's Mundo Deportivo, if I'm not mistaken, have reported this. So some reports have stated this. So obviously, it seems like Kubo is going to go out to Mallorca. And then, Gareth Bale and James Rodriguez, are they really going to be imperative in that title race? I think they could be. I think, if Zidane gets the best out of them, then I think they could prove to be real, genuine, what I would say, important players. Because Gareth Bale, is a world-class player on his day. You see it, plays versus Celta de Vigo, pretty much got man of the match, to be honest. And then James Rodriguez, world-class player, very, very good on his day also. So I think they could prove to be very, very important this season. If Zidane gets the best out of them, then, man, I would love to see us, whenever Gareth Bale's fit, just play him, just play him. And I would love to see Zidane, just give them the confidence because, a confident Gareth Bale and a confident James Rodriguez, man, they could, prove to be, to do tons of damage. So I'm hoping to see that, Gareth Bale and James Rodriguez get a lot of playing time this season. But we know Gareth Bale is 60% of the time he plays, and then the other 40% is injured. So, it is what it is, I guess, with Gareth Bale, and we just have to accept that. Let's see here. So I'm just recapping, guys. I'm just going through a little recap here, and then I'm going to pretty much end it. So I'm going to end it probably in 5 minutes or so. I just want to talk. So right now I'm just doing a little recap. Obviously, there's Mark Roca. We've been linked to him. Obviously, we're just going through, I guess, some midfield options. Mark Roca was apparently going to Bayern Munich, and now it's just, it seems like he's going to, it seems like that deal has stalled. So maybe Real Madrid are now interested, and we'll see what happens from there. And I think that's all I have to say, guys. That's really all the news that there is. Caesar says, Kubo rumors to Valladolid. Do you believe he'll get more minutes on a team? I don't know. Fighting to stay in La Liga. Sorry, I keep pressing on the send button. Oh, no, it's all good. Don't worry. I know Kubo was linked to Valladolid, and it doesn't seem like that one's going to happen. Seems like he's going to go to Mallorca. Do you believe he'll get more minutes on a team? I hope he'll get minutes. I mean, I don't want this to be a futile loan. I really want this loan to, I would say, pay dividends. I really want to see Kubo playing, because it would be silly for us to send him on loan and essentially he doesn't get played. It's a bit like Lunin, I believe, last year, where we sent Lunin on loan and he didn't really get a lot of playing time. So I'm hoping definitely that Kubo does get some playing time, because it would be worthless to send Kubo on loan and him not get some playing time. Jonas says, I hope Kubo plays in La Liga to gain experience like Odegaard. Yes, that's a good point. Odegaard, he's at Real Sociedad right now, and he's going to get some more experience in La Liga. And I think he'll be, more than ready next year. I think Odegaard, it seems like he will be ready next year. It's been a long wait, and people were saying he's going to be a flop. He's not going to do good. He's not going to do this. And now we're seeing. I would say we're seeing it pay off. But Odegaard, it seems like he will be the next big thing, and Kubo the same thing. So hopefully Kubo gets experience in La Liga, because that's really what he needs. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need that experience in Castilla. I think he's too good for Castilla, and really it's La Liga that we want to see him in, and I think it would do him wonders to his development. So I think that's all I have for you guys today. I'm gonna end it right there. Obviously, just some news from Real Madrid. The situation right now. Obviously, the Neymar thing. I don't want to talk about it too much, but what I have to say about Neymar is a good player. Would I like to see him at Real Madrid? Maybe, but it could disrupt the team chemistry. So that's all I have to say, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. What I did want to say is that I probably won't be coming out with the live stream tomorrow. I have to say that. I'm sorry about that. It's tough these days. Look, I have work. I have to work tomorrow, so I'm not gonna be coming out with the live stream. It's very, very convoluted schedule these days. I'm gonna try my best to, come up with a, I'd say a more structured plan, these coming days, because it is very convoluted these days. But I'll let you guys know what happened. I'll give you guys some channel updates. So next game, though, preview. Yes, the match preview will be on Friday. Friday, I will be doing the match preview. I wish I could do it, earlier, obviously, but because of work tomorrow, I will have to do it on Friday. So sorry about that. It's difficult. Gotta make a living somehow. So there you have it, guys. I'm gonna end it right there. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Caesar. Thank you, Jonas. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Renato. Thank you, Sean. And that's it. So I'll see you guys on Friday. Friday is when I'm gonna be doing the next live stream.